what am I being charged with? This is one of the most asked questions that I've seen over the years, and it's important for a defendant to understand the specific charges against them. Now, if your lawyer has explained all this to you about your charges, this should help you understand the seriousness of the charges you're facing and what you need to do to protect yourself and your family. I'm criminal defense attorney George McCranie, and I've practiced criminal law in South Georgia and Georgia for almost 30 years. Now, I've represented farmers and factory workers, mothers and fathers, lawyers, doctors, nurses, teachers, even politicians and professional athletes. So I've represented them and their families. So let me tell you about some of the common questions that I get and that you should ask your attorney before you decide to enter any plea or do anything in your criminal case. Now, if you're facing criminal charges, we know that it can be highly stressful and confusing experience, especially if you've never been in the Georgia criminal system at all. So I want to answer some of the most common questions that people have when they're facing criminal charges. And one of those is, what am I being charged with? This is one of the most asked questions that I've seen over the years, and it's important for a defendant to understand the specific charges against them. Now, not only should you know the specific charges against you, but you should also know the nature of the crime. The applicable laws that are involved with that specific crime and the potential penalties if you're convicted. All right, let's just for example, let's say if you're charged with a crime like aggravated assault. You need to know that aggravated assault in Georgia is a serious felony charge. Your lawyer should explain all of this to you, including that aggravated assault doesn't require a physical battery, only that serious bodily harm could be caused. For example, let's say threatening someone with a gun without actually harming them or shooting them can be aggravated assault. Now, finally, your lawyer should explain to you the possible penalties that can happen if you're convicted of whatever your charge is. Now, for example, with the aggravated assault charge, your attorney should give you specifics about what could happen if you're convicted here in Georgia. So, for the felony charge of aggravated assault, for example, it is a felony, and it carries penalty of imprisonment for not less than 1 year and not more than 20 years in prison. Now, if your lawyer has explained all this to you about your charges, this should help you understand the seriousness of the charges you're facing and what you need to do to protect yourself and your family. Again, I'm criminal defense attorney George McCranie. I practice criminal defense for over, almost 30 years. And if you've got any questions or comments, put them in comments. And if you got questions, we'll try to get back with you and answer your questions. Thank y'all.